Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wewealth Women podcast. This episode today is going to be called Find Something You Love and Let It Kill You. I'm going to explain to you why. But first things first, for all of our new subscribers, new followers, thank you, welcome. Feel free to subscribe, hit the like, comment, whether you're listening on the myriad of listening platforms this podcast is available on: Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Audible, or if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for your support. For those of you who are new, We Wealth Women is a women's wealth learning community that will help you create your own wealth and own your own wealth legacy and narrative. And how we do that, we have our own community that provides support, that provides resources and tools, masterclasses, workshops, information to help you become the wealthy woman of your dreams. So if you're interested in that, be sure to join us at join.wewealthwomen.com. So, I forgot to mention, my name is Athena. I am the founder of We Wealth Women. So today's episode was really inspired by my morning walk. So, ladies, part of wealth mindset, part of that journey is really finding some kind of peaceful, meditative practice in your life. For some people, that's church. For some people, that's meditating. For some people, it's working out. Whatever it is for you, have that because it's going to help you with your mental clarity, and also having that clear mind is going to allow you to think on the level you need to think to create the wealth that you need. But that's going to be an episode for another day. Um, but I was doing my morning walk. So every morning I go to the park and I do this like for an hour. I walk around the whole entire park for an hour, briskly. Sometimes I skate, and these things will come to mind. And what really came to mind was one of my favorite poets, Charles Bukowski. And what I like about Bukowski is he's kind of, you can't listen to Bukowski when you're feeling sunshine and rainbows because you have to be in that mood to really contemplate life and the realities of the world that we're living. Kind of like if you're on a rainbow sunshine high mood, he's not gonna able to sustain that. But I started to collect certain quotes from him, and one of my favorite quotes is, "Find something that you love and let it kill you." And as I was walking on that particular morning and I thought about what he said, I realized that Bukowski, because I was like, there's many ways you can interpret that. I mean, let it kill you is intense, but if you know Bukowski, he's an intense person. That's why I said don't listen to him if you're in this high, positive, rainbow, sunshiny mood, because that is just not he's not gonna make you able to sustain that. But with that, I felt, how many of us feel so passionate about our lives, feel so passionate about what we are doing that are so committed to it, so enthralled by it, so indulged by it, that we would let it kill us to the point where, if I just embrace this, that will be enough for me in this time on earth. And not saying that we need to be that intense. Not saying that at all. But what I am saying is, when you are so passionate, so committed, so enthralled, so very much so indulgent in your purpose and what you're doing, that it gives you an energy, it ignites you, it excites you, it really sets your world on fire. It makes you really embrace life. And it started to make me think about how many of us are truly living life in this way, right? Now, there are the monotonous things of life that are routine that we need to do. You need to get up, brush your teeth, pay your bills. That is going to be on repeat. But the first point I really wanted to make in this was really that having a passion helps you to become wealthy. And I think a lot of us don't really acquire the wealth that we need to have because we're not identifying something that we are truly a passion, a why, a reason that propels us forward. Because it is very easy to get into routine, to get complacent, to get lazy, to not push past the norm, the average, to get exceptional results. And in order for us to do that, we need a strong enough why, we need a strong enough passion, we need a strong enough reason, right? And so as I was thinking about that, right, that quote that find something that you love and let it kill you. I mean, it's intense, but it communicates exactly what we need to have, what we need to do in order to rise above the status quo, right? I remember I was watching someone online. I think Ken Billions. Shout out to you, Ken, if you ever see this video. And he said something, I'm paraphrasing, but I was watching a video of his and he said something like, no one had to teach you how to be poor or average. But to attain success and wealth, you have to learn so many things. You have to embrace there's so much knowledge you have to get to close that gap. And I thought about it, and the reason why, and he said something, the reason why no one had to teach you how to be average is because you were placed in society as that was your surrounding, that was who you were around, that was the people you were engaging with. So it's second nature. So if you don't come from wealth, your parents don't teach you wealth, that is not your environment. Oftentimes, you're going to have to get some vast amount of knowledge elsewhere outside of that group or community you're coming from. Um, Oftentimes, you're gonna have to be in a completely different environment. Oftentimes, you have to do things, some completely different things, just to get that. And I think that in order for you to embrace having to go against that grain, you have to have a passion so much that helps you to become wealthy. Now, there's two ways you can look at that. One way is I have a passion, I have a skill that I'm so passionate about that I turn that into a business or an enterprise or a project that helps me to get wealth. And I'm a firm believer in that only because I understand with especially entrepreneurship, there are going to be moments that you experience a lot of setbacks, a lot of challenge, and you need a strong enough passion, you need a strong enough reason to stay the course or you're gonna quit. Most businesses fail, right? I think what is it? The statistic, I think it was what, 10% succeed, right? Most fail within 5 years. So I asked people, especially those who've had been in business for a long time, and for the most part, their response was just that they just never gave up. They just never gave up. or they pivoted or they tried something else. They just never stayed up. They embraced failure as a lesson and they just kept going or trying something new. Now, the other side of that, because there are people who definitely have businesses that they are not passionate about. There are people who have basic businesses, like I don't want to say basic businesses because some of these basic businesses bring in a lot of money. There's some people who have a trash pickup business, some people who have a office business, some people who have, a business that they're not necessarily passionate about, but it brings in money. And even with them, even if that particular thing is not something that they're passionate about, the reason why they have the business is something that they're passionate about, which is, for example, they're passionate about creating generational wealth for their family. They're passionate about having the money and resources to now do the thing that they're actually is a hobby or a passion of theirs. So in that sense, their why is kind of separated from that particular business, but also fuels a desire to have that business so they can get to what they really want. So they just have a lot of clarity on their why and passion on their why. So that's why I feel like having a passion and understanding your why is so important because it's literally going to be the energy and fuel you need to create this wealth that you need. Now, as I was thinking about this Bukowski quote, find something that you love and let it kill you. I thought about money and the very different ways to earn it, make it, create it. And I think about the time that we're living in, the time of AI, the time of, internet, the time of global commerce. There's literally people who are monetizing their lives that are millionaires. There's literally people who are selling socks and pens and information, whatever it is. And I really think now more than ever, because if you look at the past, maybe there were a lot more barriers. There were a lot more challenges that you would have to face as a business owner. But with the internet and AI, especially with AI has closed the gap so much that we literally have no excuse as to why, if you want to be a person who does make a passion-based business is what I'm going to call it, then now is the time for you to do that. You have all the resources, all the tools available to do that. And I think that in a lot of ways, it's disrupting the job market. In a lot of ways, people are expanding their minds as to what is possible. I was listening to the infamous Cat Williams Club Shay Shay interview, and Cat was saying that when he was growing up and people were talking to him about what he wanted to be wasn't really a thing yet, like created. And I look at today and think about, wow, a lot of us are in job fields, careers, businesses that even 10 years ago, it would be hard to even conceive of what we can achieve now. So imagine 10 years from now, you know? I just literally completed my vision board. I'm looking at it and I was thinking, wow, some of the stuff on here. Now, I put really big goals, really big goals because your girl is gonna big step. Okay. Mine on another level, but I expanded my thinking. And what I realized was that as long as what made things different for me was really leaning into my passion, really leaning into, and I kind of needed to be that type of person So there are people who can do jobs, do careers, do businesses that they're not passionate about. And the way my mental is set up, um, I cannot commit to a business that I don't have some kind of interest in. It's really hard for me to stay committed if I don't have passion. The only way I think I can do those type of business is if I'm really not in the business whatsoever, meaning that like meaning the services, the processes, pretty much everything is outsourced and I'm only like managing one or two certain things, then I could do. But if it's a business that's going to require a lot of nurturing from me, I need to be it needs to be of interest. And that is why I love We Wealth Women so much. We Wealth Women is really something out of my own passion, um, really something out of what I love to do. We have our own app now available on the App Store and Google Play, which I am ecstatic about. And we're having our upcoming workshop as well at the end of this week, actually. But what I love the most about We Wealth Women is that this is really born out of uh, it's almost like the universe gave me so many signs about doing this. It's really born out of my passion. I've really found something that I love that also creates value because I think when it comes to money and wealth creation, what I understand about money is money needs direction and it needs an exchange of value. And I think a lot of us are not on the level of wealth creation or receiving the money that we want because we're not really putting our value out there. And We Wealth Women was something that is the value I wanted to give to women, which is financial peace, which is um, living life on your terms, being open to opportunities for your career, for your business, for your finances. And I think that also tackling something that we have a lot of fear and shame and around and don't really understand as far as it impacts our lives, and just to make that clear for women so they can have the foundation to really expand their options, which money and wealth does. So I'm truly grateful to be able to do that. So as I recall Charles Bukowski's quote, find something you love and let it kill you. I feel grateful that I found something that I love and I'm gonna let basic I'm gonna stick to this committed. And I hope that you listeners, you ladies that are listening, find something that you love so much that you're passionate about, that you're willing to create a magical, wealthy life around it. And if you are not at that space, or even at the beginning of figuring out what it is that you love, or even trying to figure out, okay, how do I create wealth from it? Please join us. Please go to wewealthwoman.com and learn about us, consider joining us. You can go straight ahead and join us at join.wewealthwoman.com and download our app. It's free to download. No excuse, but find something that you love and that you're passionate about, and you just let that drown you. You just let that become what propels you past accepting life as it is and reach for more. But thank you guys so much for this episode. Links and descriptions are available for you of all the resources mentioned. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next time.